Hello and welcome to the debate. I'm your host, Maqbool, with you at BTB World. In today's show, we will be talking about, of course, the political dynamics of the country and what has been going on in the number of developments that we have seen since yesterday and, of course, many days before that as well. We know that the Islamabad court has given a two-day physical remand to the PTI leader, Fawad Chaudhry, who was arrested earlier yesterday after an FIR was lodged against him in the Islamabad police station. The investigating officer had demanded an 8-day remand, but this was not accepted, and only a 2-day remand has been given by the Islamabad court. Of course, it remains to be seen what happens with regards to the hearing that is now, of course, going to proceed further. There are a number of serious charges against him that have been leveled in the FIR, which, of course, in discussion with many legal experts have claimed are probably inappropriate in terms of the overreach that is perhaps represented in the FIR. But remains to be seen what the court has to say on the matter. The hearing will resume once again tomorrow, and we're going to see what is made of that. In the meantime, of course, the PMLN has decided that the Interior Minister and the daughter of Nawaz Sharif, Maryam Nawaz, is going to be leading the election campaigns, particularly in Punjab, and she's of course also planning to return by the end of this week. Will be leaving tomorrow from London and will be reaching Lahore on the 28th, where preparations for her warm welcome are currently underway. What the dynamic is going to be after the return of Maryam Nawaz, of course, is a question, and whether or not we're going to soon be seeing the return of her father, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, as well, is also a huge question mark. And then, of course, the developing dynamics that are now going ahead with all the different political parties, particularly in Punjab, is also an important concern. The PTI chairman had also had a meeting today with his senior party leadership, discussing, of course, the evolving strategy in the aftermath of the arrest of the PTI leader, and what they're preparing for in terms of more arrests, or the fact that they need to prepare regarding the delay in elections in Punjab or KP. That, of course, is another important dynamic that we'll be looking at. So, of course, with regards to where the government stands, where the different political parties stand, and how we're going to see the situation evolve is, of course, going to be an important one, particularly, of course, in the provinces of KP and Punjab, and then with the centre as well. For this and more, we've been joined in the studios, of course, by senior analyst Farrukh Pitafi, who's with me as always in the show. We've also been joined, of course, by our very senior guests online as well. We've been joined by Mr. Javed, Jadoon, who's joined us online. He's a political analyst, and we've also been joined by Mr. Arif Chaudhry, who's a legal expert, and we've also been joined, of course, in the studio by Mr. Farid, Rais, who's a senior journalist. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us and being a part of the debate. Let me start with you, Mr. Arif Chaudhry, considering there are a number of legal questions that we have discussed, particularly with regards to the kind of arrest that has happened regarding the PTI leader, Fawad Chaudhry. Of course, this is one particular incident, but it's also representative of what has happened in the past as well by previous governments, and of course, the kind of political strategy that is often employed in terms of how we're going to go ahead with any sort of decision making. There have been a number of occasions where many other leaders, and of course, with regards to PTI leaders, even the chairman himself have spoken at length against the institutions and made a number of statements that perhaps could have warranted the same kind of response. But we see that the statements that were given in by the PTI leader Fawad Chaudhry, these particular developments have taken place, none of which have taken place against the PTI chairman himself. What do you make of the Islamabad court's decision of a 2-day physical remand being given to the former minister, and then also with regards to how this is going to proceed regarding the charges leveled against him?
Thank you very much. As far as the government are concerned, I think throughout our history, the style of the governance of all political parties almost has been the same. Nobody is trying to learn lessons from history. They don't understand that, in such a situation when people are, the government in power is not so much, wielding so much respect amongst the people because incumbency is a big problem that you cannot deliver, and of course they are not delivering. And people are disgruntled with the present regime. And on the other hand, when you are taking such drastic actions, and those are also, I think, very in a very unprepared manner, because if you see the FIRs against Azam Samati or Shabazz Gill, or for that matter, this present Fawad Chaudhry, I don't think that is going to stay, because this the charges, they do not constitute the kind of guilt they are have been alleged against them, because none of them, the election commission is not a court in any manner whatsoever. But notwithstanding the fact that I don't endorse the language of any political party, whether he might be Imran Khan, or he might be Shabazz Sharif, or he might be this guy, Fawad Chaudhry, because if you are political parties and you naturally now you are in opposition, then you have to be in power, and the same thing is happening all over. So why do you use such a language which you didn't like, for others? For that matter, Nihal Hashmi, whatever, when he used such kind of language, nobody liked it. And, even the Supreme Court took notice, and, he was convicted for contempt of court. But as far as this thing is concerned, with this guy, Fawad Chaudhry, I think the government has made him a hero overnight by registering a case, and particularly when this election commission is not a court, number one. Number two, when there is contempt of this, if they consider it a contempt of election commission, they have already taken a notice against Imran Khan and Fawad Chaudhry. So what they can do, the maximum, first of all, they have to determine their jurisdiction, and if they have the jurisdiction to punish someone for contempt of election commission, then they should proceed accordingly, but not that you have to register a case, and that also under 124A, this is a kind of an action which I think is unwarranted, and it's going to backfire. It's not going to produce results which the those who are behind registration of this FIR, they are looking for. Because always, even this election commission, they should have avoided this, because election commission, is a body who is supposed to be very neutral, and by their actions which they have been taking so far, even people like me who never spoke so vociferously against election commission, I also now feel that this election commission has lost its credibility towards holding fair and free and transparent elections under Article 218, because they are aligned with one political party, and all their actions, whichever they have been taking so far, they
Right.
speak louder, yeah, of their
All right.
of
Javed Sahab, when we talk about what Mr. Arif was referring to, of course, these are important considerations to keep in mind. But I also want to understand that when we take a look at this particular development and the fact that previously also other leaders, as was mentioned by Arif Saab, have gone through perhaps similar sort of engagement as well. Why is that the kind of consequence or response that we see with these particular leaders has not so far happened with regards to the PTI chairman? If the grounds or the justification of such action is what statement has been said, or what sort of language is being used, or how there is violence incited or threatening language that is used, these are all the things that have been done repeatedly by the PTI chairman, yet we don't see action taken against him. So how can we expect some sort of consequence to be given to these leaders based on the same reasoning for which there is impunity for the PTI chairman?
Sana, thank you very much. I think as far as a provocative statement is concerned, it really can't be condoned, whether that be somebody from Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf or somebody from the Pakistan Muslim League and People's Party and all other political parties. Whenever they are in a position, they always threaten the institution some way or the other. And this was yet another example of a very responsible leader issuing the kind of a statement which really can't be condoned. he should have been careful. Having said that, the response was unproportional. The way Mr. Fuad Chaudhry was treated, one can imagine happening that incident in a martial law regime, but in a democratic setup, uh, when there are certain rules of the business, the political parties need to coexist. Because today you are in power, tomorrow you will be in a position and you could be at the receiving end. Because if you set a wrong precedent, this would be followed even in the future. So we need to set very healthy democratic traditions. Rule of law is extremely important, but rule of law should not be manipulated in one's favor or against the political opponents. The political atmosphere has been muddied so much that now the mud is slinging and it is sticking as well. And the hapless people, over 200 million people of Pakistan, are just watching from the margins what is happening at the center stage by very responsible political leadership from both sides. Well, look at the economy. The way economy is taking the hit is unprecedented. Today, there was a bloodbath in the currency market. The rupee, the value of rupee sliding so much that it lost about 25 rupees in a single session. And the kind of difficulties people are facing, the skyrocketing inflation, the foreign currency reserves falling below 500 billion, $5 billion, hovering around 4.4, $4.5 billion, exports taking a really serious hit, and so on and so forth. So why not, care for the people of Pakistan who are the real stakeholders? What are you going to gain from this political mudslinging and confrontational politics in Pakistan? Elections are to be held within the stipulated time period as prescribed by the Constitution of Pakistan. There could be a healthy debate like it is taking place in every democratic society, where you can present your manifesto, you appeal the electorals, and you tell them what kind of a manifesto you have, what policies you are going to pursue when you come into power. That is the real democracy, that is the real politics which a healthy society can pursue. But look what is happening. Now it has become really personal between Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and Pakistan Democratic Movement in general, and Pakistan Muslim League and in particular. But on the contrary, to a pleasant surprise, many leaders from Pakistan Muslim League and disowned this act, and even to a certain extent, they even criticized the way Mr. Fawad Chaudhry was treated by the police. The way he was taken to the courts with his face covered. He was not a terrorist, a political leader, a former information minister, and a very responsible. He has a very responsible position within Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. So
Right.
these kind of precedents, if pursued in future, they would create a kind of animosity between the opposing camps, which is not going to go away very easily.
Okay, Mr. Farid, when we look at all of these dynamics and, of course, the background of the political conditions that are prevailing, especially in KP and Punjab, and then at the center as well, there is, of course, an impact that these developments would have. As Arif Sabali was saying, that perhaps such moves also have the effect of backfiring and may even give the PTI some sort of positive ground to work on. At the same time, we also know that the PMLN is planning for the return of Maryam Nawaz and is preparing for her welcome over the weekend. And of course, she'll be leading the campaigns along with the Interior Minister as well in Punjab. And that, of course, will have its own impact on the way that the elections are going to unfold, since Punjab historically is believed to be the stronghold of PMLN. How exactly do you think that these developments, especially that of the PTI leader Fawad Chaudhry and what has happened in the recent days, and Maryam Nawaz's return, is going to impact elections in Punjab?
Thank you, Sana. First of all, I would like to add some points regarding to Fawad Chaudhry's arrest over as we are talking about, this is not the very first time which has happened to Fawad Chaudhry's arrest. It has been done in the past too. We must remember when the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf came into the power, and the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf chairman and then the Prime Minister of Pakistan at that time, Imran Khans, he had a narrative of bringing all the political leaders, his opponents, behind the bars. We must remember Mia Nawaz Sharif, we must remember Maryam Nawaz, we must remember Mia Shehbaz Sharif, we must remember Khaja Asif, we must remember Saad Rafiq and all the other prominents, we must remember Khaqan Abbasis, of all the prominent leaders who are sent behind the bars. I think so. At this moment, this should be stopped in Pakistan in order to strengthen the democracy, in order to strengthen the economy. The political instability has led towards the economic stability as we all are facing at this moment now. I think so. This political, as far as today's, as the information minister said, as Musaddiq Malik Saab today's presser said, that the government is not. This is not a political arrest, and there is nothing. There is no politics involved in the arrest of Fawad Chaudhry. But Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is terming it as a political. What you can say about this, that the score settling. So I think so that these kind of things, and I personally believe that handing over the treason certificate should be stopped to anybody else. It's not as simple as to hand over a treason charge to a political leader or to some political leadership. We have seen in the past also, but I feel personally, I believe in this thing, that this should be stopped over there. The courts are over there. The 2 days physical remand has been handed to the police for Fawad Chaudhry, and let the court decide what happens next. But as far as this thing, the PTI is now criticizing the government, but they should remember over there that what they have done in the 3.5 years tenure over there. They were not ready to sit with their opponents at that moment. Right now also Imran Khan is not ready to sit with the government. It is the political leadership which has to go and which had to dig out the problems of the country in order to strengthen the democracy over there. But I think so that this political point is scoring by bringing in the political leadership, handcuff. I think so. This is more condemnable over there. That putting white cloth over Fawad Chaudhry Saab and bringing him with the handcuffs over there. This is not a good thing for the democracy in Pakistan. This should be end. This should come to an end. And somebody has to start over there. It should not be said that it should be done by the PTI in the past, or it should be done, or it is to be done by the present government over there. Somebody has to take the lead. They should be stopped, and they should not be done in the future also. So I think so. As far as you have asked a question about the return of Maryam Nawaz to Pakistan, yes, the government and especially the PMLN is trying to regain its popularity. It's to regain its want to communicate with the people over there. But one thing we should keep in mind over here, that Pakistan is facing a serious challenge regarding to the economy. A good news over here is that the IMF mission is visiting Pakistan from 31st of January to 9th of Feb, as the government have assured the IMF to complete its 9th review and to meet all the conditions which IMF has set for Pakistan. And for that thing, around 150 to 200 billion rupees new taxes would be imposed. All the tough decisions has been taken. As we all know about the cap which was on the dollar, and today as the dollar rose to 255, it will add on the challenges. It will multiply the misery to the common man in Pakistan. The return of Maryam Nawaz will be a challenge for the government ally, for the PMLN itself, and to contest the elections in Punjab, because at this moment the government and the government allies will have to answer the people about the inflation rate, about the miseries, about the challenges which a common man is going to face over there. Yes, Maryam Nawaz will lead the campaign. Maryam Nawaz will lead the campaigns in Punjab over there. But the biggest challenge is the economy. How the government will satisfy the people over there, which they used to claim in the past that when they'll be in the power, they will bring relief to the people. So right now the biggest relief for the people is to get themselves get them rid of the miseries which they are facing. So it's a big challenge over here. We hope so that the things will get better, but at this moment there is a big challenge for the government, and at least the return of the Maryam Nawaz will also will let's see what strategy would the PMLN and the government allow would take. But I think so it will not be an easy task for Maryam Nawaz Sahiba's return to Pakistan for the people over in Punjab.
Absolutely. Farrukh, when we take a look at this situation and what Mr. Farid was pointing at, of course, there are important concerns regarding the economy and regarding many indicators that are, of course, important to the people at large. But unfortunately, we see that the focus again somehow shifts to the kind of political developments that take place, or the kind of situations that we see with regards to different political parties. And it seems that even if there are election campaigns going on, the chunk of or the focus in terms of what is going on or what is shown on the media is still such political news, and somehow the issues of substance always take a back burner. Do you think that this time it's going to be any different in the way that economy, of course, is a very huge concern at the moment, and is also, of course, being used as part of the narrative by the PTA as well, will maybe centered around more in terms of how we're going to see the campaign led by Ms. Maryam?
Right, Sana, four moving parts, and all of them are very important. Let me first of all start by actually reflecting on Fawad Chaudhry's arrest, because it was said that he is a senior leader. He is also, former information minister. Having said that, let me add to the list. He is also an officer of the court because he is a lawyer. And not only that, he is also de facto part of journalism club as well, because he has been hosting in the programs in the past. Having said that, this debate on the manner in which he was arrested reminds me of another debate. I mean, it would have been hilarious if it wasn't sad. You know, it was the debate about how animals should be slaughtered. Should they be slaughtered with love, compassion, some kind of kindness, or whether they should be slaughtered brutally. So the answer is that you are killing an animal and you are going to eat it, right? No matter how you actually do it, that can be subject to your taste, but eventually the issue is you are going to kill an animal and eat it. So Fawad Chaudhry was arrested, and we have talked about consequences of what he said and the consequences of including the sedition bit as well. I think that there isn't a single person today that I've met or listened to who would condone the use or inclusion of sedition remark. But since this matter now is sub judice, I don't want to further litigate this issue, right? Regarding what you were talking about, you know, how we keep on talking about politics and we don't, spare that much time as national media for economy. Well, this is the classic case of chicken coming back home to roost. This is what you have been investing in. You have 50 channels. They're all obsessed with A, politics, B, scandals, 3 or C, violence, 4, more scandals. So what exactly do you expect? Which channel is going to focus on economy? Because there used to be a couple of economy channels or business channels, and they have all been dismantled and reincorporated into this political pressure group machine, and that is not going to change. In coming days also, every time there's any good news about economy, media in the end will A, try to focus on some kind of scandal, B, perhaps if it cannot, then it will pretend that this country doesn't need economy, because this is your business model. Now, regarding your political realities on the ground, I think that while PTI keeps on thinking that it is up and coming and it is up and up, I think it has been losing repeatedly. One merciful thing perhaps, and I don't want to actually lighten the gravity of the issue, something that was said by Parvez Elahi today, and that reflects on Fawad Chaudhry and how he was being received by PTI's own people, is that had he been arrested a few days ago, perhaps situation in Punjab would have been better. I bring up this matter not to actually reflect on what Fawad Chaudhry was saying, or for that matter what PTI or its allies are saying. What I want to actually bring up is the fact that PTI's political model is very different from other political parties. It is intrigue on what should I say, on some kind of addiction, right? Everybody is out to get everybody else, and this has been happening when they were in power. Every minister was trying to undercut every other minister, and even now people keep on blaming others. I gave you an example yesterday of the President of Pakistan. Shiri Mazari actually calling him out and asking him to be a good worker of PTI. And today that reflected also, right?
Right.
It's a sad commentary. Having said that, now I think Punjab, because on one side we have seen that PMLN had actually, lost some kind of space and lost some space, and we had seen that PTI was gaining, and now PTI is losing as well. So Punjab at this moment is up for grabs. If PMLN comes up with a very effective messaging strategy, and Maryam Nawaz actually leads it the way it is supposed to, Mian Nawaz Sharif also comes back, I think that PMLN can get a good result.
Okay, and we'll talk more about that as well, and I'll come to you, Javed Sahab, but let me just quickly also go to Arif Sahab regarding two concerns. One, when we talk about the verdict regarding the decision of a 2-day physical remand, in any particular case where former politicians or any ministers are involved or any such matter is taken to the court, how necessary or important it is, and under what factor is a physical remand chosen to be given to such a person. And secondly, there is of course an important discussion going on in terms of a delay perhaps in elections in Punjab or KP, and the PTI talking about that being a possibility or that being something that is being planned. Of course, we keep on hearing that there is a time bar on the fact that the elections need to be held in a certain time frame, and that needs to happen. But how significant do you think this particular time frame is, and is there any way that perhaps this can be avoided?
Yeah, as far as this remand is concerned, physical remand, it's very important to know that physical remand is meant to allow the investigation agency or investigating officer, IO, to be able to get more and more information regarding the offense from the accused person. And if there are offenses of such a nature where there are intricate problems and you need to connect the dots and you need more and more time, that is the case where you have to satisfy the court that for this reason, for this purpose, we need the physical remand. And prior to that, in order to justify that, request, you have to substantiate your request with progress so far made. But in these political cases, I don't think that, there is anything which is to be recovered or there is anything which necessarily needs to be, inquired, because it is very clear the purpose by itself is to torture, not to prosecute, but to persecute. So for persecution, if you allow these agencies to, take control of their body, so naturally we have seen what happens to them, and that is not warranted under law, and no political party, if they are in opposition, would allow others. And no democratic system in anywhere, would allow this kind of persecution of the political leaders and political workers. As far as your second question is concerned, under what circumstances elections can be delayed? I think under no circumstances election can be delayed, because Constitution is very clear, and the mandate of Constitution speaks very loudly about the holding of elections. When there, it happens a situation which has already occurred, after dissolution of these assemblies, you have to hold these elections within 90 days, period. And moreover, when I know, and when I see that there is a reference of a financial emergency, Article 235. If you just read it, it nowhere allows a delay in holding of elections. There are, of course, financial measures in such kind of emergency, but it doesn't allow. And then there is another article, which is Article 254, which is also referred, that, if in case that, within time framework, if you have to do something, under the mandate of the Constitution, and you are unable to do that within that time, you can extend it, and that which should not be invalid. That also doesn't come on the way because that is only in extraordinary circumstances, as it is in force majeure, which is available in all contexts and in all laws,
Right.
But in this kind of situation, the Constitution shall prevail, and you cannot delay elections at any
Right,
cost.
Arif Sahab, I understand that, but does this mean that if in case, of course, there is a delay and the 90 days limit is not respected, the accountability, how exactly will the accountability then be held, both in terms of the ECP or whoever is responsible, as to what sort of consequence exists, even if there are resources quoted or the financial emergencies we're referring to quoted, will there still be no exceptions given and the accountability will still prevail? And who will be, in fact, held accountable and what way?
Yeah, the responsibility shall lie on the shoulders of Election Commission first. And the second thing which is important to know, to be known by all of us, that in case of such a delay, the government in power, the government in the field loses its legitimacy there and then, because the time framework is specified that on such and such date, even you have to. I'm talking about other scenario, because one way is that you have to hold these elections within time framework of 90 days because of the dissolution of assemblies. The other thing is that the general elections, that they are trying to postpone it and delay it, and they want to go to the deadline of final time which is fixed for 5 years time. So for that matter, I think if that time comes and they cannot hold elections, and they, one way or the other, under one pretext or the other, they delay it, the government loses its ground. They cannot stay for a single minute, and all those responsible would be put to task, because the Constitution
Okay.
has it is now elaborated newly, that the treason has been defined.
All right.
Nobody can
Understood.
hold in abeyance even the Constitution for a single day, for a single
Right,
minute.
right. Understood, Arif Saab. Javed Saab, considering the impact that was earlier being discussed regarding the situation, particularly in Punjab, and then also, of course, the element with reference to the PML, the statements by the PMLQ, and also the change in party presidency and the rifts that exist within the party as well. Do you see any sort of significant impact that this may have on the alliance with the PTI, and also in terms of moving forward, the way that the dynamics are going to unfold in Punjab, with also the PMLN's own strategy in place?
Sana, I believe and strongly believe that Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is looking for a very clear majority. This is what they believe, that they can garner a majority in the provincial assembly in Punjab, and they would not like to be dependent on their allies in future. They were really needed the PMLQ when they had to form a government in Punjab. But if they go for the kind of a majority they're looking forward, I really don't think so. They would be needing a substantial support from other than a symbolic one from PMLQ. So, whatever the kind of ramblings coming from Mr. Pervez Elai, basically he wanted to stay in power. He wanted the assembly to continue, and he never agreed with the dissolution. Ultimately, he gave in because he believed that Imran Khan made up his mind and he wanted to dissolve the provincial assembly. So he went along, but I don't think so willingly. So even today, when he was talking to the media, he was saying the same thing, that I did not agree with the idea of dissolving the provincial assembly, because he believed that then there would be victimization and a witch hunt, which would be conducted against the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf leadership. So I think that is only because he is out of power now. As far as Imran Khan is concerned, there could be two opinions whether he made a blunder by dissolving the provincial assembly, or the kind of a gamble. It might pay off, it might not. I believe that Imran Khan is just like that. He doesn't sort of go in a very kind of a deep discussions or internal debates within the party. Once he makes up his mind, he goes for that. He's a resilient politician. He makes mistakes, he commits blunders, but ultimately, I think he is the ultimate leader who makes the decision, and the rest of the party is always on board. So I think yet to be seen whether elections will be held within the stipulated time period. I really don't see any reason why elections should not be held within the stipulated time period of 90 days, as Arif have stated very clearly that Constitution doesn't provide for that. And even morally speaking, Pakistan Democratic Movement will not be seen as a party which is willing to contest the elections, and probably they would be seen as running away from the elections. That is not going to go their way. The kind of a popular support they're looking for, you were mentioning the coming back of Maryam Nawaz Sharif. I really don't see she is the kind of a wild card which Pakistan Muslim League N is looking for. She was there when the by-elections were held, and the Pakistan Muslim League N lost miserably. And I really don't see anything happening on the ground substantially. She comes back, well, she has to come back. But I think that ultimately, if Mr. Nawaz Sharif comes, he might make a difference, but that difference won't be significant enough to
Right, and
turn the
Javed
tide
sir, when
against
do you
Pakistan
expect
Tehreek-e-Insaf.
that to happen? When do you expect the
I
return of
think
Nawaz Sharif?
the kind of given the kind of political animosity, political confrontation, and the political standoff, I really don't see Mr. Nawaz Sharif coming back. He
And
would be relying, I think.
right. Javed Jadoon sahab, let me also add to the question. But you just said that PMLN or PDM actually lost miserably in the by-elections. I just wanted to know what exactly constitutes the definition of miserably, because in most of the constituencies, the difference was not more than 10,000. There were certain examples where they lost by a few thousand, votes. And similarly, when you talk about Punjab Assembly, they were contesting from 20 seats, and PTI could manage only 10 seats. So do you think that there was no competition at all?
Yeah, Farrukh, why I said that? Because Pakistan Muslim League and always considered Punjab as its power base, as a power bastion and a stronghold. And they never believed that any other political party could snatch it away from them. What really happened in the by-elections was they lost the majority of the elections while they were in power at the center as well. So I think that is a very significant thing, because Pakistan Muslim League N was very popular when in the dying day of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf's rule at the center, at the federal level. And given that turnaround, as far as PDM is concerned, and as far as Pakistan Muslim League N is concerned, that would be considered a miserable failure, because they never believed, they never even thought in the wildest imaginations that that would happen to them in the kind of a power bastion they considered Punjab, and in particular Lahore as well. So in that particular context, I still believe that that was a serious setback to Pakistan Muslim League, and
Okay,
as far as the
Javed
by-elections
sir,
were
you
concerned.
were also saying that you don't expect Nawaz Sharif's return. Why is that?
Because there's a kind of uncertainty in the country right now, Sana, because of the uncertainty, you never know what is happening on the ground, and he would like to rely on his daughter, Maryam Nawaz Sharif, and if she can make a difference, that would be sufficient. And probably
Okay.
one other reason is when he comes back, he has to go straight to the Adiala jail, because that is the requirement of the law, and then I think the party could sort of approach the top judiciary as far as the relief is concerned. But I
All
really
right.
don't think she would like to go back to jail.
Okay. Mr. Farid, earlier, of course, the fact that the PTI enjoys huge popularity is something that has been quoted in terms of numerous developments that have taken place against the PTI chairman or other developments throughout the past year. Despite that, we keep on hearing that the popularity is there, or the social media stronghold is there. But this time around, especially since the aftermath of the appointment of the caretaker CM in Punjab, there was a lot of ruckus by the party leaders. Even the PTI chairman has called for nationwide protests. But we haven't seen the kind of movement on the ground as there was earlier. That has always been one aspect that the PTI uses in terms of showing its power. And also now with regards to a senior PTI leader being arrested, we haven't seen the kind of statement being made in terms of people in numbers. Does that say anything with regards to the way that PTI is now popular or not?
This is a very good question, Sana, about this thing, that the PTI has always claimed that they have a very good popularity among the people, not only on social media, but among the masses of this country. They believe that the only leader which could steer the country out of the political and the economic crisis is Imran Khan. What the PTI believe this thing. Imran Khan himself believed that he is the leader who is mandatory for the country. If he will not be in the country, if he will not be in the power, then any could be happen to this country.
You think he doesn't believe that anymore?
Yeah. So these are the kind of the things which need to be addressed. And yes, what we saw in the local bodies elections in the Sindh and especially in Karachi, the popularity. I think so. Talking to the Bloomberg yesterday, Imran Khan, he said that now he see there that the election would be held in after August. You need to understand this thing, that overall what compelled him and what was his idea behind dissolving the KP Assembly, the Punjab Assembly, by tendering the resignations in the National Assembly over there, that he was trying to exert the pressure and demand an early elections by the government. I feel that now what the kind of a pressure he wished to exert on the government and the strategy, the political strategy he devised by dissolving the KP Assembly, by Punjab Assembly, and by tendering the resignations in the National Assembly, which accepted by the Speaker of the National Assembly. So right now there is no room for PTI in Punjab, there is no room for the PTI in KP right now, and no room in the National Assembly. So they are being out from all this, all the system, what you say about in all these things. What he believes over here, that he has the popularity. But I think so at this moment, the popularity which he gained, which he used to enjoy in 2018, and the elections by which he came into the power, his party came into the power. At this moment, the PTI believes that they had the power, but I don't think so. At this moment, the wind is against the PTI. I believe this thing, that they will not be, and this is the thing what Imran Khan was worried about, that the elections should be held as earliest as possible, because he believes that as the time passes by, he will have to face all the cases against him, and he might lose the popularity which he has, as he accepted in the local bodies elections in Sindh, in Karachi. He accepted himself that we had the popularity, we are popular in the social media and on the social media platforms.
And do you think there is any understanding on any level that the dissolution of assemblies was perhaps not the correct move?
I think so. By talking to different PTI leaders, they believe this thing, that no, the move was very, very correct about this. It was a timely move, and the overall, while talking to one of the PTI leaders and the former governor Sindh, Imran Ismail, today in my show over there, he said the decision by dissolving the assemblies was a correct move, and yes, the basic purpose behind that move was to demand an early election. Now the big question,
that's not happening.
The biggest question over here, that if Imran Khan believes that the government should hold the by-elections in the April or as early as possible, the government has taken some kind of tough decisions which has been delayed. The government is going to meet all the requirements as demanded by the IMF. There will be a pressure. They will have to pay the political price in terms of going to the IMF program. So how can it possible that they will hold these elections at earliest and at the demand of Imran Khan? So I think so. The elections will be on its time, but as far as the popularity is concerned, it's too early to comment. But the election results will show what happens.
Okay.
But Sana, if Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is not popular, then do we believe that Pakistan Democratic Movement, with the huge economic debacle, is the popular political grouping which can win the elections given the current situation and the economic turmoil?
That's a very good question, sir, and there's an answer. Sana,
go ahead.
Regarding your question, sir, the answer is we don't know. Because all the data we saw, especially the by-elections that you were mentioning, they were ages ago. At that time, Imran Khan Saab's political narrative regarding America and foreign currency, foreign conspiracy was in currency. At that time, so much more was happening. That is now yesterday's news. Because we don't conduct surveys, we don't conduct opinion polls that regularly, we would don't know for now what exactly is going to happen. We'll have to wait for an election or perhaps a national survey to conclude that. But there are indications why I would believe that PTI is losing the kind of touch it had. The first example is Karachi. Whether you justify it one way or the other, they could not bring people out of their homes in Karachi. After Punjab, Karachi is perhaps the place where they have the greatest pull. The second thing is, of course, what Sana mentioned, when Fawad Chaudhry was actually being arrested. Before that, there was a rumor that Imran Khans is going to be arrested. And amazingly, when TV anchors have to gather people to actually come and protest, you can believe how much there is support for the man in his hometown in Lahore. So these are things that actually make me believe. And then, of course, the audio leaks might have also done their damage. So there are reasons to believe that they might have lost touch. But yes, who is gaining at this moment, we would don't know. Sana, will you allow me to actually clarify certain things that were said earlier as well?
Right.
Whenever
absolutely.
you tell me to stop, because I know we are almost at the end of the program, I will stop.
Right, but also add to that the question that I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
where in all of this is the PPP? We've talked about various political parties, but how is the PPP doing in all of this?
It is dancing. I mean, they are the only people who are consistently gaining ground in Pakistan. They have gained ground in southern Punjab, they have gained ground in Sindh, they have gained ground in Balochistan, where a lot of ruling alliances people have switched sides and joined them. And at this moment, it seems that they are managing to communicate to the GT road population as well. That used to be, as was pointed out by Jadoon Saab, that used to be the stronghold of PMLN once upon a time. But regarding Parvez Elahi, what he's saying, I think makes sense. 2 weeks ago, you had two governments in your hand, and they were very powerful governments. You could have actually developed a lot and carried out the development projects in Punjab, and that would have definitely impacted the result. So if somebody has convinced Imran Khan Saab, it is, make no mistakes, it is an advantage, it is not gamble, it is a kind of harakiri that he has actually thrown away advantages that he had in his hand. And for what? For two in the bush. The two in the bush is the day after tomorrow, the election will take place, in which I may sweep. I don't know whether you'll sweep or not, because we don't have the numbers, right? So that becomes a problem. But regarding PTI and PMLN's popularity, I honestly believe that Mian Nawaz Sharif himself, even if he comes and he goes to Adiala, there is a very effective way to actually play upon the victimhood of the party. Because remember, there is untapped voter of PMLN who might be sitting at home at this moment, but it is there. Right. I give you an example of Pervez Musharraf. When he was in power, Mian Nawaz Sharif came back, he was facing bigger challenges, legal challenges, and he managed to sweep Punjab. And Maryam Nawaz is a very effective communicator. Now that Imran Khan Saab's messaging has fallen apart, I think there is a chance that they might also be able to get away with a lot of support.
All right. Thank you very much, Farrukh. Thank you very much, Mr. Farid, Rais. Thank you, Mr. Arif Chaudhry and Javed Jadoon Saab for joining us and being a part of this discussion. Much remains to be seen as how the dynamics is going to unfold, but we hope it's all the best for the country. That's all that we have from the debate. We'll see you tomorrow.